Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the nice meeting of the Ridgecrest City Council. Are we good to go? We're good to go. It looks like we do have a caller on hold, so I will make sure of that. I will go and call our meeting to order with roll call.
Mayor Brun.
Here.
Mr. Blades.
Present.
Mr. Rajaratnam.
Present.
Mr. Heyman.
Present.
And welcome back, Mr. Gorman.
Present.
5, we have a quorum.
Okay, first item on our agenda is our approval of our agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda? And hearing none, is there a motion for approval of the agenda as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second.
Please vote. We get to vote, yay.
I've forgotten how to use this thing
I
already.
like the voice.
5 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you very much. Next item is public comment on closed session. Is there any public comment from the floor on closed session? I do believe there is a caller on the phone. Seeing none from the floor, we'll go and take caller from the phone. Caller, go ahead.
Sorry, I can't get down there. I realize you guys enjoy seeing me so much at the podium, but maybe I'll come down a little later. As far as this closed session item that you have concerning the real property negotiations, apparently about a potential land sale between Desert Valley Credit Union and the city. This was brought to my attention by some other parties. I wasn't even following the council meeting, and was brought to my attention because they were going, "What is the city doing? Wanting to sell land to the credit union when we got a mayor and a council member, both as head of the credit union and as an employee of the credit union." So that doesn't look real good, guys. I just want you to know that. Looks like, the bounds are strung a little too tight here between the city and the credit union, with the two people on the council being part of integral and important part of the credit union. So I'm sure you'll proceed to go ahead, in which case I certainly would not expect to see Mr. Brood or Mr. Rajaratnam go back into the closed session meeting and have to recuse themselves. That being the case, I haven't boned up on it lately, but there are certain issues that requires more than a majority of just 3 members to vote on. So I have a question as to the city attorney as to whether 3 members can vote to proceed ahead with the real property negotiations of this type. I'd like to hear that answer. I'll be listening.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment from the floor? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and recuse ourselves into closed session. We'll be back out for our regular session beginning at 6 p.m.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
A couple of things. One, the property owner on this item, this could be one item, conference with the real property negotiators under Government Code 549656.8. The property owner is the successor agency, not the redevelopment agency. It's a typo, just to make the record clear. And also, the mayor and Councilmember Rajaratnam need to recuse themselves from participating in this item.
Yes, sir.
There was one other question. Do we want to answer that? Sorry.
No, go ahead. I didn't hear what the other.
No, okay. So, hey, Martin, if you don't mind, could you please answer the additional question? Is there going to be a requirement that there's a unanimous board decision, complete board, or is a majority okay?
This is not one of the items that requires a majority vote, but so majority of the quorum would be sufficient under this instance, because it is not an expenditure of money.
Understood.
It is actually a disposition of property. So we will report out the vote after the closed session, as we always do. That's a requirement. But we have a quorum, so we can proceed.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, sir. And my apologies for not reading off the closed session, Martin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll go ahead and recuse into closed session. We'll be back at 6 p.m. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will go ahead and come out of our closed session, and we will begin our regular session. If I can ask everyone to please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Can I ask our explorers to lead us? allegiance to the flag of the United States
United
of
States of
America
America,
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. And Councilman Rajaratnam.
Please join me in prayer if you would. Lord, thank you for giving us this day. Lord, thank you for the opportunity you have given to us to be on the city council and serve this community, Lord. Lord, I pray for our country, give wisdom and discernment for our leaders so that they take us through these difficult, challenging times. And Lord, give your guidance to each one of them. Lord, I pray for our armed forces who are serving here and abroad. Lord, protect them from all evil. I pray for our law enforcement officers, Lord, as they put their lives at risk for saving us, Lord. Be with them and protect them and bless their families, Lord. Lord, be with each one of the persons who are here today, especially the younger generation who are trying to learn to be good citizens and to be the good leaders in future, Lord. Bless each one of us, and may the discussions we have be acceptable to you. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, next item on our agenda is our attorney's report out of closed session. Martin?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, council members. 2 items were considered by the council in closed session. On the first item, potential litigation, no reportable actions were taken. On the second item, property negotiations, the mayor and Councilman Rajaratnam recused themselves. And after deliberation, the remaining 3 council members unanimously voted to approve a sale of the property mentioned in the closed session agenda for a price that was appraised, full appraisal price, fair market value appraised by a professional appraiser. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have a few presentations. If I can ask my council to join me at the podium, we have some proclamations and presentations. Would you present one since you haven't been around? Oh, is that one of the proclamations?
That'll be a challenge.
Challenge. Would you rather?
I accept.
Okay.
See how I did that?
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So first, I get the honor of presenting our first proclamation this evening, which is in behalf of the Ridgecrest Honors, our National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, which is this week from April 14th to the 20th. And whereas the dispatchers of the Ridgecrest Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the city of Ridgecrest, and whereas it's important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people of the community by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the dispatchers of the Ridgecrest Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service, now therefore be it resolved that the Ridgecrest City Council hereby proclaims April 14th through April 20th, 2024 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the city of Ridgecrest in honor of the Ridgecrest Police Department dispatchers. Proclaim this 17th day of April 2024 with all assigned council members. And can I have a member of our dispatch team come up and join me? Or as many members are here. So it looks like we have 3 of our dispatchers here. And, you know, when we talk about dispatchers, we always want to understand what we're talking about. These are the people that get the first call. They are the first people to hear from you, the first people to respond, and the first people to point our very capable police department, fire service, all of these services that we provide to you, the citizens, to support you. It's been an honor to work with you guys, and thank you for your service. Would any of you like to say something? Nope? Nope? Would you like to take a picture? Okay, you'll take a picture for me. Okay. the way it's supposed to be. We support you. Thank you for your service.
Hi, I'm your newest but oldest city councilman, Skip Gorman. I get to do this. I don't get to do them often, and I won't with the erudite elicitation of our mayor, but I'll stumble through. This goes to a group of people that I personally never knew existed. I'll get to meet them. This is a proclamation of the city of Ridgecrest, California, which honors Property and Evidence Professionals Appreciation Week, April 1 through 7, 2024. Whereas the Property and Evidence Clerk of the Ridgecrest Police Department plays an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the city of Ridgecrest, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people of the community by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the Property and Evidence Clerk of the Ridgecrest Police Department increasingly provides a vital public service. Now, therefore, the City of Ridgecrest City Council hereby proclaims April 1st through April 7th, 2024 as, quote, Property and Evidence Professionals Appreciation Week, unquote, in the City of Ridgecrest in honor of the Ridgecrest Police Department's Property and Evidence Clerk, proclaimed on the 17th day of April 2024 and signed by everybody who sits up there. Have we got that clerk or the clerk staff and everybody associated with this? Please step forward. Get your picture taken. What is your name, sir?
Art Atencio.
Say it out loud into that mic.
Art Atencio.
Art, I'm very glad to meet you. This is yours. Step forward up here so we can smile behind you and get our picture taken.
Skip, you have a great way of doing it.
Anyway, I like that shirt.
My bowling shirt.
Right. So we're going to do, council's allowed us, city, to honor the Explorer of the Year award. This is an award that is picked by the explorer that we feel who has shown commitment to the agency, helps out, and is committed to the program. And the way we do it currently is we don't have a fight to their death yet, but my explorers advisors behind me, they help decide who it is. And this year, it's going to be a captain of our program, Brianna Kishlock. Come on. You want a speech? Go, come on. You got it.
Okay, everybody's gonna have to bear with me because I'm not very good with words. So I first want to start off by saying I'm extremely flattered by this award. I'm extremely grateful that I have these fine young gentlemen with me behind me that has helped me throughout the program, throughout my life. But overall, I just want to say that this program really changed my life for the good. Coming from a household where there was a lot of manipulation and abuse, this program really taught me that it's okay to reach out to people and that what happened to you does not define you. And I just want to say I tremendously grew as a person, and it wouldn't have happened without the fine young gentlemen behind me. I just want to say thank you, and I hope you guys are here for a good reason, I guess. I don't know. Thank you, guys.
Will we have room back there?
Have some of them step down a step.
Yeah, they don't need us up there.
Make sure everybody can see the camera. If you can't see the camera, they can't see you. Come on, move over a little bit.
I'm Captain Tucker, and I get the honor of presenting 2 life-saving awards today. If I could have Officer Jeremiah Lloyd and Officer James Kiros join me down here at the podium, please. All right, on February 20th, 2024, Officer James Kiros and Officer Jeremiah Lloyd were dispatched to assist a female who called 911, stating she was feeling dizzy and was having difficulty breathing. Dispatcher Saul Wasser could hear crashing noises and noticed the female was in and out of consciousness. Upon the officer's arrival, they were greeted by the female at the door. She immediately started collapsing, and the officers were able to get a hold of her to prevent her from hitting her head on the ground. The female was not breathing, unresponsive, and had no pulse. Officer Kiros and Officer Lloyd administered 1 dose of Narcan and began CPR, but she was turning blue and still no pulse. They administered a dose of Narcan and began CPR, but she was still non-responsive. They administered a 2nd dose of Narcan and continued CPR. Liberty Ambulance and Kern County Fire arrived on scene and continued life-saving measures. The female regained a pulse before being transported to Ridgecrest Regional Hospital, where she made a full recovery. Officer James Kiros and Officer Jeremiah Lloyd are to be commended on their swift response, effective collaboration, and proficiency in life-saving techniques. These actions undeniably contributed to save a life. And it should be noted this is Officer Lloyd's 2nd life-saving award and Officer Kiros' 3rd life-saving award. Let's give them a big round of applause.
One more picture, guys. One more. You don't get to escape this one. When you're tall enough.
Doesn't work, Skip.
Thank you again. Once again, thank you to our Ridgecrest Police Department for their life-saving efforts and to our incredible explorers. Thank you for your service to our community. Next on our agenda is our public comment. This public comment of items not on the agenda, persons wishing to address the council on matters that are within the council's jurisdiction and do not already appear on the agenda may do so at this time. Council will not respond to any public comments, but may provide direction to staff to collect information. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the City Council may not act on any item that does not appear on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes. The public comment section is limited to 1 hour, and each speaker is asked to provide his or her name. We'll begin with any public comment from the floor. Is there any public comment from the floor?
Yes, there is.
My name is Robert Blackwell, and I'm becoming a regular visitor here, but I work representing and working with the Quaisu tribe, and we have a number of outstanding issues with the city. And we had a very, very unfortunate incident this week during a First Amendment lawful protest on public property, which 8 o'clock that morning, we discussed the matter with the Ridgecrest Police. It was very clear what the rules were about being on the sidewalk. We follow the same procedures we have on every other protest. About 20 minutes into the protest, and as you can see, the protest was an authorized protest of the Quaisu tribe. All right. The second page you have is a general description of what you're allowed to do in California and in the United States when you're protesting. Okay. Page 2 is a description of the law that protects citizens, all citizens, whether you're a native, whether you're black, whether you're white. You have a right to assemble, and you have a right to and you have a right to protest without having the government interfere with that. Okay. So on the morning of the 10th, there was a very, very small protest done on Balsam Street. Number 3 is a picture of just 2 signs that were out, 3 and 4. Okay. After about 15 or 20 minutes, the police drove by, and let me compliment the Ridgecrest Police. They've been totally professional. I think some of the issues that we're facing in this small city may be kind of new, but they have been very professional. After about, the policeman drove by, who I discussed it earlier that morning, and he kind of waved and moved on. And about 10 minutes later, a city employee, picture number 5, shows up. And I informed him that these were my signs. I was protesting. It was First Amendment. He had no right to take the property. He was on the phone with the city manager, who directed him to take my signs, our signs, the Quaisu signs that were hand-drawn by them. So you can see number 5, he's actually taking the signs. Number 6, the young man is seen getting into his car. Number 7 is his car, which is a city vehicle, okay? And it's really important when you understand constitutional rights. The 14th Amendment prevents the government, city government, state government, or any government from interfering with your rights. Okay, and this is clearly an action done. So 2 days after the protest, I get a ticket for, and you can see it on page 9, okay? For what was this? It was for distributing handbills. There was no handbills. You can see from the pictures. These were protest signs. lawfully done on public property. And they cited 10.3 of the city code. It says handbills, okay? And the purpose behind that is so you don't have a lot of, what you'd say, trash around. This was a First Amendment protest. The city violated the law. It has been reported to the FBI, and it is a very, very serious matter. This is not something the Quietus sought. The city has had many opportunities to work on these issues. Our protests will continue. They will continue this week. And the city council needs to understand that neither the city nor the city council has the right to interfere with our protest. And we will continue to protest. And so we just want to make it really clear that we will be lawful, but we expect the same from all the city employees. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment from the floor?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, and staff. My name is Cal Rossi, Government Relations Manager for Southern California Edison. I appear before you this evening to celebrate the accomplishments of one of Ridgecrest's finest. Each year, Edison International awards high school seniors with a scholarship. The $1.5 million program awards $50,000 scholarships paid over 4 years to 30 high school seniors who live in SCE service territory. Applicants must have at least a cumulative GPA of 3.0. I think you've blown that out of the water. Show financial need and plan to pursue studies in the fields of science, technology, engineering, or math at a 4-year accredited college or university. Recipients are eligible for summer internships at SCE after completing their first year in college, and we certainly hope Serena takes us up on that, given her extreme talent. With the addition of the 2024 Edison Scholars, Edison International has awarded $16.5 million in scholarships to 790 students through this program since 2006. Edison Scholars is all about recognizing students with big dreams to help them be a maker of tomorrow. We believe in our scholarship recipients, and we want to help them succeed in college so they can make the world a brighter place. On April 5th, I was pleased to partner with Raul Valenzuela, SC's district manager, Rebecca McCourt, Ridgecrest Chamber ambassadors, as well as her mom, Daljeet, administrators and staff to congratulate Sherman E. Burroughs High School, Serena Cara, for this remarkable achievement and welcome her to the Edison Scholars family. I know Serena represents the community well and signifies the quality of people that are raised in this community. I know she will make her parents, her mom, Daljeet, proud, as well as the city, as she pursues her computer science degree. And with that, I'd like to introduce you all to Serena Cara, and congratulations on a job well done, and we look forward to great things from you.
Yeah, I just want to thank Edison and my family for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I'll be able to go to a 4-year university debt-free, so I'm very thankful. So, yeah.
You know, and I think it's important to note, she has colleges pursuing her. She has options. Not all of us came in the front door like she's doing, you know, so just well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Serena.
Congratulations.
Is there any other public comment from the floor? Seeing none, I believe we have one public comment on the phone. Caller, go ahead.
Yes, this is Mike Neal. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, surprising what you hear when you're listening on city council meetings. I had two things to comment on. Now I'm going to add one more on the front end of what I was going to say. And I'll just say this plainly and loudly that I am utterly disgusted with your city manager who has chosen to abuse Robert Blackwell and his group's First Amendment rights and go down and take poster items away from him and then find some half-baked excuse to send him a citation. That is just the ultimate and disgusting violation of First Amendment rights. Mr. Blackwell, if you're listening and you don't care to exercise your own lawyer skills in this one or want some help, there's also a group called the First Amendment Coalition in California that specializes in litigation on these kind of matters. I just could go on, but I think utterly disgusting as a descriptor of that action is sufficient for this one. Now, as to another thing going on in town, soon to go on in town, rather, that is going to be a blatant violation of our Fourth Amendment right to privacy. We will soon see the placement of, I believe, 24 cameras of the flock safety, quote-unquote, system, in which we will be surveilled all up and down the streets across the width and breadth of Ridgecrest, simply for supposedly make it easier to catch crooks in town. Now, this makes you surveilled, essentially, and recorded for 30 days at least, at every major intersection, and plus a few more, it sounds like, in Ridgecrest from now on, at least the next few years. So imagine this, would you, for just a moment. If you decide to surveil the mayor, follow him around with a camera or a cell phone and video him all over town as his goings forth and goings comings. I don't think he'd like that very much. And he'd probably be calling Mr. Strand to get the cops to come running out to tell me I can't stalk him. Or let's just say somehow or the other I decided to surveil one of your other council members and found a way to move really quickly and was able to place myself at every intersection of, say, China Lake Boulevard as you proceeded either north or south and video you as you proceeded down the street, or maybe just follow you in my car and video you and make sure that any little traffic violation that you engaged in that I call the police department to try to say, this guy's breaking the law. You probably wouldn't like that very much. Well, I can tell you for sure that all the freedom-loving citizens in Ridgecrest dislike it just that much, knowing that they're going to be on camera, recorded, and surveilled every time they choose to go out in public. All for, the claim that we're going to give you better safety. Well, give us our liberty and don't over-safety us to where we're surveilled 24 hours a day anytime we step out of our house. The last item is concerning the numerous, what they call not on Balsam, not off Balsam city nights, whatever they chose the nomenclature, and what it costs the citizens to put on these little city parties, which, by the way, are getting their own little nickname called Drunk Fest. Let's look at the police hours expended in these events. May 23rd, 10 police involved for 70 hours. August 2023, 13 police involved for 80 hours. February 2024, 10 police involved for 80 hours. So basically, you got 10 plus police officers for an entire day, by the way, of which they're all getting overtime. So this is a real sweet biddy for the police department staff to police this little party. What kind of a party of, say, you claim 3,000 people needs to have 10 police officers attending it? Does that indicate that you expect some out-of-control behaviors to go on? If that's the case, Why is the city continuing to put these on if they expect such out of control behavior that they need so many police to patrol it? One suggestion, police department, Mr. Tucker, why don't you think about having your DUI saturation patrol, say, August the 19th? I believe this is what another one of these city parties is going to be going on. And see how many people who shouldn't be driving are out there driving around afterwards. How about that? Why don't you call me and let me know what you think about it?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Do I have any other callers on the phone? Seeing none, do I have any final comments? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to our next item, which is council announcements or direction. We'll go ahead and start with Mr. Gorman. Any council announcements?
I have none. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
None here.
Just a couple announcements, and thank you for the plug from our citizens for our Night on Balsam event, which is coming up this Friday. We're looking forward to seeing our community out. Once again, these have been great events to bring our community together. 3,000 to 5,000 people, children having a great time, and in a great, wonderful, secured opportunity with our police officers around us. It's made for a very fun event for everyone to get involved. I can't tell you the number of citizens that I've had come forward to me and offer their appreciation for us putting these events together and making sure that people come out of COVID and are really active and embracing our community. So thank you to our city for doing these events, and we're looking forward to this Friday, our return to Night on Balsam event. The only other one I had was I wanted to throw a shout out, even though they are competing against us for people. Alta One is holding a scholarship fundraiser event. I believe it's for their foundation, but I wasn't able to find the foundation online as a 501c3, but I believe it's for their foundation. Yeah, I think it is. But they're on the same night on Friday night, the 19th. If you're interested, just want to make sure I put a shout out there for another local community business working for our communities. Mr. Rajaratnam.
I'll do breakfast at the end. What's that? I'm going to do breakfast at the end. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not doing that, so. No, I'm really thrilled to see so many presentations being given today. A couple of them are for telecommunicators, which is the dispatch clerk, and the other one is property professional, crime scene evidence and storage of that evidence. These are our unsung heroes. We never notice what they do. So it's really amazing to see that these people are recognized today, and we have given proclamation to them in recognition of their service. So really thank them for what they do for the city, and hope we will be able to recognize such people in future. And the second is the police explorers. So I want to thank Sergeant Lloyd for training these young adults and then giving them good direction so that they become future leaders and future role models in our community. So thank you all for a great job done in that aspect. Thank you. That's all.
Mr. Blades.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on something Mr. Rajaratnam just said, and that's just that we just got to see tonight two fine, brilliant, shining examples of the youth in this community pushing us forward. They're the future, and I think that it was beautiful to see. It was very inspirational to me. We saw the explorers, the group of explorers that was down here. I know not everybody could see on the camera, maybe if it panned out, was a large group, and I think that group's growing. Is that right, Captain Tucker? Yeah. So the group's growing, and that's a positive sign to me. That's people wanting to be engaged with the community, part of law enforcement, part of standing up and doing the right thing. And we also got to see Miss Serena, and I apologize, I forget her last name, but Serena came up here to get a scholarship that she no doubt has worked tirelessly for. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work she's put forward, and the scholarship is just one small indication of that. And so I wish her very well, and she's a credit to this community for her hard work and dedication. The next is we also have the market, I believe, coming up on Balsam. I think that's May 1st. May 1st. That's something else I wanted to make sure the community was paying attention to. Something else that the city staff is working hard on, not just the city nights. The city nights are important. I can tell you that Eric, I too get a lot of feedback from the community, very appreciative of us trying to bring community members together. I have never heard anybody say anything about it being, giving it bad labels. Maybe it's just the people that I talk to, but I never hear that. What I do hear is younger generations, older generations, and a lot of folks giving the city staff praise for getting it done. So thank you, Ron, for making that happen. Let's see, what else? Thank you for your act, getting your staff engaged with Mr. Blackwell. I think it needed to happen, and I think we all know what side of the law we're on here. I'm not worried about it. Thank you.
Feel free.
I just want to kind of follows up with a bit of what's already been said, but a big thank you and shout out to California Edison for those scholarships, because it was great to see Serena up here, and but when Cal said that they gave 30 of those out across the board, that's a lot of money put into, directly infused right to the source to help a person in their education, and I think that's a real commendable act on California Edison, and thank you very much.
Thank you all. Okay, next we'll move on with our next section, which is our consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and non-controversial by city staff. Consent items may be approved by one motion if no member of the council or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the city council concerning the item before action is taken. I will now read the three consent items. The first is approve the draft minutes of the Ridgecrest City Council regular meeting dated April 3rd, 2024. Next is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest, California, declaring the city's intention to form a landscaping and lighting district 2024-1 to concurrently annex and consolidate said district into the Ridgecrest Consolidated Landscaping and Lighting District number 2012-1 and to levy and collect annual assessments related thereunto commencing fiscal year 2024-25 pursuant to the provisions of Part 2 of Division 15 of the California Streets and Highways Code, and calling for a property owner protest proceeding to submit to the qualified property owners the question of levying such assessments and establishing an assessment range formula for said district pursuant to the provisions of the California Constitution, Article 13D. Number 7 is a resolution of the Ridgecrest City Council authorizing the execution of the certifications, assurances, and authorized agent forms for the Low-Cost Carbon Transit Operations Program Project, LCTOP, being system-wide fee fares for Ridgecrest transit passengers fiscal year 24-25 in an amount not to exceed $76,828. Does any member of the council wish to have an item pulled? Hearing none, does any member of the public wish to have an item pulled? Hearing none, I'll present to the council. Do I have a motion for approval of the consent calendar as presented?
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
There's a race for the second,
Please vote.
and we all vote.
5 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next is our item number 8. Item number 8 is a discussion item. This is our discussion regarding the board of the Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority. Mr. Heyman.
Thank you, Mayor. So I have two meetings that I will kind of review tonight. Our March meeting, regularly scheduled meeting, was we did not hold because of a lack of a quorum, and so we held it on March 29th, so I'll start with that meeting. It was a rather short meeting. So our primary agenda items was the item number 9, board was to receive and file water year 2023 annual report. So that was presented, and there was no action required, but it was basically approved and filed. Item number 10 was a shallow well mitigation funding request on 2 wells. There were 2 wells that fell into the shallow well mitigation program. Both those wells were approved. We approved the staff's recommendations to fund those wells to assist them in re-drilling. There was a bit of play back and forth as far as with the water district director as to they did not want to approve the full amount but wanted to approve some of it, but it was a 4-to-1 approval to go ahead and follow staff recommendations for it. Item number 11 was approval of change in scope of work and budget for a contract with Provost and Pritchard Consulting Group for CEQA NEPA documents and permit documentation services for the imported water pipeline. And that was approved, and that was pretty much the meeting. Do you want me to just go ahead and move on with the second meeting, and then if anybody has any questions or comments they want to make, we'll follow up with it. And so, on the most recent meeting was held on April 10th, and so we will begin with item number 9. Board was to receive and file the 2022 financial audit. That was approved. Item number 10, amendment number 1 to master agreement of CACA 059994 with Bureau of Land Management. That was approved. And then there was a consolidation grant presentation, which required no action. Water District and the GA went over some consolidation. They're currently working on some consolidation of wells and mutuals. And so we'll follow up on that as they make progress on narrowing down exactly where there was some money that was received. I believe it was I forget the exact amount, but there was a sizable amount of money that was received from or to the GA to assist with the well consolidation project. So, and that concluded our meeting. So if anybody has any questions or.
Scott, is there going to be enough funds to cover down on that consolidation, do you think?
What's that?
Is there enough funds from the grant to cover down on?
Well, maybe certain, that's what they're going to do is prioritize, where that money could be spent and get the biggest bang for the buck, basically, on bringing, either consolidating wells or bringing a water to areas that are, whether it's chronic groundwater lowering, or there's one area off Rademachers that's it's actually a groundwater quality issue and too much TDS in the water. So, but no, it's not enough to fix all the consolidation that needs to go on, but it's a start.
Yeah, it is. Wes had some good comments. I don't know if you remember his comments, but it was just a couple days ago. I actually got to sit and watch. I didn't get to watch the meeting all the way through, but most of the way through, I caught his comments, and he was talking mostly about the groundwater authority having the charge to make sure they're monitoring not just the cost of what everybody has to pay to replenish this water, but shallow well mitigation, how we're controlling the water. Do you remember those comments?
I do.
Okay. I'm only bringing it up because I hope that I'm not a part of the closed session meetings. I don't have a steady flow of communication with the staff. So my hope, as always, I don't always talk as much during council meetings, but is that you guys are having these conversations with the staff and that you're looking at the future of what the GA, what their purpose is and what their role is. That's important to me, and I think it's, even if a lot of folks in the community don't quite have the time to pay attention, the Groundwater Authority is playing a pivotal role. Their role is not just to take up money. They have a purpose and a charter, and I hopefully you guys as a board and as a staff are discussing those future plans and the direction.
It is definitely being considered and looked at, and in the big picture of the groundwater agency is to bring a sustainability plan and a solid water future to this valley that's far-sighted, not just caught up in the current arena and status of the water in the valley. So, yeah, I think that's a.
Sure. Yeah, that's all that I would hope. I mean, I generally agree with your direction, especially the way you vote. I watch the meetings. I see the way you conduct yourself. I agree with the direction. I think there's very few people in this valley who would say we don't need imported water. But always an important thing to keep your finger on the pulse so we don't stray. You know what I mean?
I do. And, I mean, do you have any specific topic on that line?
No. I just checking in with you in a public forum to make sure that to make sure that we maintain that we're on the same page, we're moving forward in the right direction, and that the staff. I mean, because staff can get so busy heads down moving their own direction that they're not on the same page, and I want to make sure that you guys are having those
I
conversations.
think it's a
as
very
well.
solid, cohesive work between the city, Kern County, Eno County, San Bernardino County, in working in the same direction. I mean, there's no doubt that we get opposition from our board member and the water district in and of itself. It seems to be a steady opposition to the interconnection pipeline project.
Sure.
And one of the agenda items, we were asked to split the agenda item into two parts between AVAC and, don't quote me here, but we split it to vote because the water district didn't want to approve anything that would be supportive of the interconnection pipeline project. That, to me, that's concerning because when you look at the new news reports, Tule Lake Basin is the, I would say, unfortunate one to be deemed the first basin to undergo probationary they were being taken over by the State Water.
Yeah, it looks like I read an article this morning that said they were being put on probation status, and that the state was considering taking them over.
Yeah, I think the state is working on, taking action to bring in. So it'll be interesting to see, what that entails. We know that there's some other articles too. I'll maybe go over those on the following meeting that when I discuss the water burn, but that wasn't the only article. There was several in the news, but anyway, I would like to bring that up because in one of the articles, they talked about the penalties imposed upon the basin, the water restrictions, and if everybody remembers, back when the Water Resource Control Board spoke at one of the GA meetings, they discussed that in detail, what their picture of corrective actions are. It's pretty stiff, and we don't want that. So I don't like to see things that throw a rock or a wrench in the wheels of progress with the GA and maintaining our goals and movement forward. When you see that this is very real, we don't have control over that. The State Water Resource Control Board is going to act upon their on SGMA and what they have put out to the public. So I want to see the GA in this valley continue to make progress and working diligently to stay on top of this.
On a general, just a long-term philosophical note, I don't believe that even you or anybody else, I can't speak for everybody on this board, would be opposed to opposing the actions of, the Groundwater Authority at large if we thought that it was not in the best interest of this community.
Right.
And that's really what I'm trying to convey here is that we're all, moving in the correct direction. Yeah. And I'm still agreeing largely with everything that's the direction that you're pushing.
Correct.
It seems like I've danced enough for one evening.
Is there any other, I have no comments other than you guys know, I think the whole public just needs to remember that, we have an approved GSP, and more importantly is that these proactive steps are what's keeping us away from problems rather than into the problems that other communities are facing. We took control of our destiny at the start. We didn't leave it to the state to tell us how our destiny would be controlled, and I think that's an important message that gets lost in the minutia of the small handful of voices that are adamantly opposed to the pipeline project. But the pipeline project is an approved GSP. It is the approved plan. It is the plan vetted through the citizens. It is the plan that has the full support. I don't know how else to say that, but that was us taking control of our destiny, and I'm not going to throw it to the state's destiny. Especially anybody who's been listening to my opinion of the state and the number of other challenges we face should know that just doesn't work out to our favor.
Well, and if I may, sorry to keep this dragging on, but I think we haven't stopped to anchor down very much on this lately, so that's why I'm making as many comments as I am. And that is that I think that almost all decisions are best handled at a local level. I think that a lot more decisions should be handed from the state down to us. I mean, I'm not going to get too far off topic, but we've recently had Senate bills and things like that imposed upon us that I think should not have been a state solution. The state solution is the worst solution in this case. Local government, a homogeneous direction, I believe, is always the correct way to go. So, and of course, I've noticed, as always, over these last couple of years, especially being on the council, the hard work. So let me commend a few people real quick. I do appreciate your direction, but I also want to commend the staff, our staff. So Ron, our lawyer team. I want to commend the GA staff, right there. I know they're all working hard, and also the water district staff. I was actually inspired to see that, you had Renee up there, briefing part of the consolidation plan. I know that the two are working together with Stetson to make sure that they discuss a myriad of topics, whether it be what it looks like to interconnect, right? Because that's where the real work always happens. It always ends up falling right back on the staff. Electeds, no matter where they're at, they can say all the things they want, but the real work falls on the staff. And so I appreciate the hard work because it gets absorbed by them. And that's really what happens. That's where all the work gets done.
Scott, I tried to keep track of the goings-on water-wise while I was away. And I sensed that there was some news, some motion, some dynamics in the context of the adjudication over the last 3 weeks. My mind switches off when that comes up because I'm so wonderfully naive. But I'm, as you know, a de minimis well owner within the city. And I got a feeling there are a lot of us. We're not very visible to the GA because we crawled under our rocks years ago when the brouhaha and the senior center at Inyokern happened. I didn't, but a lot of them did. And while I was away, somebody named Kelly Garman sent out to me and others, I suppose, a couple of attachments, one of which was a very complicated form for registering your well and joining in as a minor litigant in the adjudication. I thought I'd filled out an easy form to do just that, though I did so with uncertainty, because I'd asked people that I know that should know to advise me, should I join in or not? I don't have an opinion besides to respect those professionals who know with regard to the pipeline. It doesn't affect me one way or another. But I didn't know whether it's a good idea for me, a de minimis well owner, to join in. Is that something we can discuss here?
No, let me just caution.
Martin was trying to get your attention.
Oh, we'll have to work up a sign.
Again, I would just caution council and Councilmember Hyman, as far as the GA, to avoid any discussion of items that were discussed and explained in closed session, whether that was in the city council or whether that was in the GA. So to that extent, I'm just throwing out words of caution that anything that was discussed in closed session needs to remain confidential.
Martin, am I allowed to bring up things that have been said in public record in court?
Certainly.
I think it's okay for me to say that there was not counsel appointed for de minimis users?
Correct.
It's okay. So I think that's something that you should keep in mind. I can't give direction to anybody, and I would never do that. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just saying that to keep that in mind, that in public, in court, it was determined that counsel would not be, it was proposed and counsel would not be appointed for de minimis users. And you can have that discussion later after.
Yeah, that has been covered at the GA meeting. So, I mean, if you had a question as pertaining to, what you had brought up before, I would say that that'd be a great question to ask the legal counsel at a GA meeting. And
okay,
you might be able to get an answer, but. Sure.
Any other council comments? Sorry to have cut you off there, Skip, just trying to protect everyone.
Naive you are if you believe life favors those who aren't naive.
Hearing no other council comments, is there any public comment from the floor? Seeing none, I do believe we have one public comment on the phone. Caller, go ahead.
Hello, how are you? Hope everybody's doing fine. I'm tired of people, I got a person doing yard work.
Caller, can you say your name for the record, please?
What?
Can you say your name for the record, please?
My name is Donnie. So, I'm talking about people doing yard work. They don't cover up the trailer or the truck. They got full of leaves and tree limbs falling in the street. They don't pick it up. The guy's 50-some years old. And, people that have houses, that own houses here, that own them out of town in LA and stuff. They got druggies breaking in.
Sir, I apologize for interrupting you, but I'm just trying to clarify. We're in discussion regarding the IWV Groundwater Authority. During the course of discussion, we can only discuss the items that are at point in discussion. It sounds like this is a public comment. We've already passed by the public comment section. Is it possible that I can give you myself or Mr. Blaze or any one of our council members' emails, and we'll be happy to discuss your concern?
I don't do email. Can you give me your phone number then?
Sure. So my phone number is, my mayor's phone number is 760
Yes.
977
977
7090, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
7090?
7090, correct, sir.
Okay, is this the mayor?
Yes, it is, sir.
Well, nice to talk to you. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you, sir. Didn't search for the comment, but I'll be happy to speak with you on your concerns. Just because we have to hold to the order of the discussion, sir.
Can you tell me your number one more time? I don't have a pen
Not
to
a
write
problem.
down. Can you?
Sure, it's area code 760
Yes.
977
977
7090.
77090 then. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Take care. Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Martin, I was on top of that one.
Yes, you were.
I believe I have another caller. Caller, go ahead.
I believe I have another caller. Caller, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Caller, go ahead.
Yes, I just heard yes. This is Mike Neal. So I just want to make a brief comment. It seems interesting that how the GA continues to take multiple opportunities to kind of try to sideswipe the water district, even though the water district is really the only, the two agencies that are really working for the people's best interest. And they're the only source of funding for the GA, but the GA members seem to remain content making insinuations about the water district and their activities. Well, this latest study that's been downplayed significantly, which was not just one, but 6 studies, one of which was using an entirely new method, which is basically a radar-based kind of a ground reflectivity method to go run a matrix across the basin and map out the groundwater. Now, this was earlier, insinuated, oh, well, all these studies are just old data. Well, if you want to call something that's, 3 to 4 years old data, I guess you can call it old data. However, GA wants to continue to downplay that. It'd be really nice to have the intellectual honesty and openness to just take a look at all the study results, which are available on the Water District website, and see if you can convince yourself that maybe the estimates of groundwater storage and recharge that were stuck to tenaciously from day one could possibly be wrong. And new studies could show that there's a lot more water available, hence a lot less pain to be inflicted on the public. But if they continue down the road they're going, they'll just have to duke it out in court and have their one consultant's study put up against 6 others, which basically agree with each other, and see how that comes out for them. So you can go whichever way you want, but intellectual honesty and openness is always what the public prefers to see, at least. Thank you.
Well, hold on. I got a comment there. So let's be honest for a second. Nobody's sideswiping the water district. These are comments that I'm making to Scott Heyman about, and I don't, whether Mike's off the phone or not, this is not to him, this is to the public. I don't like this. Comments like that seem to spur up discourse where it doesn't need to be. The water district, we all get along. We understand that we have a difference of opinion. That's okay. That's in. There's a period on the end of that sentence. We understand that we have a difference, and that's okay. But if we're going to follow along with intellectual honesty, we'll say that I don't believe that we've seen the data in the report, and if I'm to believe what I'm told, I sure hope. I hope that it provides this community with some relief. What I also hope is that everybody, if we're engaging in intellectual honesty, thinks long and hard about the future of this community, like the actual future of this community, all the way out to the year 2100. I want my daughter to grow up here. I want my grandkids to grow up here. I'd like to see generations upon generations thrive in this community. And I hope that the fix, whatever that fix is, I hope that it's homogenous. I hope that it's local. I hope that it's us driving that fix. And I hope that it's with partnership with the water district. I'd love to see all that happen.
So
I normally don't comment back, and I know we're not supposed to, but I'm not going to keep putting up with this, people stirring up discourse between us and the water district. It's not okay. It's not in the spirit of how we do things professionally.
If I can jump in.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, very quickly.
Skip, can I do one thing? Can I just clarify, is there any other public comment? And then we'll bring it back to council for comments, okay, sir? Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to council. Mr. Gorman, please go ahead.
A question, perhaps to Kyle. That aquifer that has been in the recent news in the San Joaquin Valley, I think, that has now been placed in, quote, probation, unquote. Was that one of the listed basins that were listed as being in critical overdraft? Right along with ours?
Yes.
You know, it doesn't make that clear at all in the article about it.
Well, so the other article I read through, I follow a bunch of different journals trying to track the water situation all over the state of California to make sure I'm on top as much as I can statewide. In only one article I said, I read that portion, not in the LA Times article, but in that one. I think the issue is it's gonna start getting my opinion. Yes is the answer.
I'd love to know more. I'd love to know how much they've done in contrast to how much we've done with giving birth to a groundwater authority and a plan. I'd like to know what they've done and whether or not it did them any good, because their results are palpable, apparently.
So even in my opinion, my humble opinion is that I think that our groundwater authority, our joint powers, has been the best setup that I have at least read about in the state. I think there's so many other groundwater authorities who are so, there's so much churn. Like our little bit of churn, is minimal in comparison to what's going on in other basins and other areas. They can't get anything done, and they often reach a stalemate. And I don't think this is the first one that the state's gonna have to come at.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. So the Tule Lake Basin is just one. There's a couple other basins that will be looked at this summer, and one again later in the fall on the east side of in the Central Valley. So other basins are falling right into that same path. I guess you could say conflict with the State Water Resource Board and being put on probationary status or being put on corrective measures. So one thing I want to address the council on is when I make comments about the water district, this is not comments I go out and just pick out of the hat and say, well, it's not a personal issue. These are factual voting records of the water district. So when we look back at their opposition to different issues and different projects and the interconnect, pipeline interconnect project. So you can go back and you can look at the voting record. So it's just factual data. If somebody doesn't like it, well, that's okay. They don't have to like it, but it is what has transpired and taken place and is on the record. So yes, the water district in many ways has worked well, but in many ways also they have opposed it. I can tell you one thing when it comes to this new data. Being a director on a board representing the city, if I had a compilation of new positive data that I thought would help the city, help the groundwater basin or the groundwater agency as a whole, I would present it to I would sit down with the directors on that board and say, hey, look, I have this information. This looks like it would be a promising, benefit to the process. And I think that's how it would be handled. This data hasn't been, brought to the board and presented as a solvable solution. So when it is, we've said time and again, we welcome it with open arms. But it's not coming to us, so leave it at that.
Any other comments? Other than I will simply say that intellectual honesty would encourage us to recognize that we kicked the can on water for about 30 years as a community. And we are finally addressing a critical resource concern for this community, and we're doing it together as a community. Whether we intellectually disagree, it's still honest. Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to our next item, item number 9, introduction and first reading of an ordinance of the Ridgecrest City Council granting a non-exclusive taxi franchise to Blue Line Taxi. Captain Tucker.
There we go. Good evening, council. I'm here tonight to introduce the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council, Ridgecrest, granting a non-exclusive taxi franchise. The City of Ridgecrest has received a proposal from Mr. Shazad Ali to operate a 24-hour taxi service in Ridgecrest and the surrounding areas. Mr. Ali has 20 years of experience in the business and has been in operation of a taxi company for 10 years in New York City and 10 years in California. This franchise agreement is being prepared as required by the Ridgecrest Municipal Code. The proposal includes one vehicle, a sedan, with a registered meter. The proposed fee schedule is as follows: $3.50 drop fee, $3 per mile fee, and $18 per hour waiting fee. No discount will be provided for seniors or military service. The ordinance will require the payment of a 3% annual franchise fee based on gross receipts provided by Mr. Ali. Additionally, it stipulates that no rates may be levied or changed without submitting the proposed rates to the city clerk, upon which the city clerk shall cause a notice to be published of the proposed rates. The rates will then be effective 10 days after publication. Additionally, per the RMC, each vehicle at a minimum shall be inspected annually or after any and all accidents. Drivers shall be duly licensed and qualified to carry passengers in accordance with the provisions of the RMC. Upon successful completion of inspections and the vetting of all drivers, clearance from the police chief shall be issued and will be displayed within each vehicle on a sticker. Finally, this ordinance requires Blue Line Taxi to provide a bond in the amount of $1,000 payable to the City of Ridgecrest for a minimum period of 1 year, renewed every year until Blue Line Taxi is no longer in business. Said security shall be provided to protect the city's interest should the taxi franchise fail to pay the franchise fees. Requesting a motion to introduce in full an ordinance of the Ridgecrest City Council for the first reading and approval to grant a non-exclusive taxi franchise to the to Blue Line Taxi. A franchise fee payment for the company in the amount of 3% of their gross annual receipts will be the fiscal impact, and requesting action for approved recommended motion.
And Mayor, if I may add, I've reviewed the franchise agreement and I would propose one subparagraph be added to it, and that would be 8F, as in Frank. And that subparagraph should read, any drivers working for the franchisee must fully comply with RMC 7.51.
Can you repeat that last code, the RMC what?
7.51.
Thank you.
What is RMC 7.51?
Yeah, Martin, can you please provide some additional clarification on 7.51?
Let me pull it up right now. 7.51 has 6 subsections, but basically it addresses what you need to do if you're engaging any drivers, if a franchisee engages any drivers. It includes driver certificates, application, it includes, and some of the things that Captain Tucker mentioned in the staff report are simply not specifically stated in the franchise agreement. So having a catch-all phrase, which would require any driver to be in compliance with 7.51, would simply address all of those. A driver who has been convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude, including but not limited to using, possessing, selling, or transporting any controlled substances or dangerous drugs, or have been convicted of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs and within 3 years, all of those things that will be checked in the background check that is mentioned in there are specifically listed in that section, giving us the ability to say, this is why this driver is not approved. Because it is not in compliance with 7.51. So that would be my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Let's go ahead and begin with any council comments. Are there any council comments, beginning with Mr. Blights?
Is 3% the standard?
Yes, that's what's in the RMC code for the franchise agreements.
Thank you.
Mr. Rajaratnam.
The rates, Captain Tucker, are they the same as Ridgecrest Taxi?
No, they are not.
What do you know what the difference is in the rates?
Don't quote me, but I believe they are cheaper than the Ridgecrest Taxi in some aspect.
So right now, this is a one-vehicle franchise, I think, right? That's what I'm understanding. So they will have only one vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that would be driven by the owner?
Yes, Mr. Ali.
Okay. Is Mr. Ali here today, or?
Yes, he is. I invited him to come for the first reading. He's
No,
seated.
no, I was just wondering.
Seated in the back with his
okay.
hand up.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's good to have an alternative for our taxi system. So I really like this proposal. But in the ordinance, Captain Tucker, I think it's probably Rikas should make a correction here. It says Ridgecrest Taxi on the top head. It should be Blue Line Taxi, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Rika, can you note that change, please?
Which paragraph was that?
On the header, right here under the ordinance.
Oh, yeah, I had changed it on my end. I'm sorry,
Oh,
I just
okay.
didn't get into the packet.
Oh, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where are, I'm sorry, where's the correction?
Correction is
Right
in
underneath
the-
the ordinance.
Go
I
ahead.
think Rika had changed it.
I think it's already been, yeah, because I'm looking and mine looks fine.
Okay.
It looks fine?
Yeah, are we looking at the same spot?
No, not the agreement, the
Oh,
ordinance.
Oh, maybe I didn't catch it.
It says Ridgecrest
On
Taxi.
Ridgecrest Taxi.
So it should be Blue Line Taxi.
Second
apologies
line,
for
top
that.
header of the ordinance.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll make sure the change is made.
Okay. That's all, Mayor.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir. I see it now.
My only commentary is, Mr. Ali, since you are present, when we get to public comment, if you would just give us the assurances that you're perfectly fine with us adding that additional item to the agreement, I would certainly appreciate hearing from you. Mr. Hammond? Mr. Gorman? Hearing no other council comments, is there any public comments?
Can you please come here, Mr. Ali?
We'd just like to, I personally would just like to hear that you're okay with the amendment that the attorney is proposing to the agreement.
Yeah, just go right here, that's fine.
Hi, sir.
Hello, sir.
My name is Ali. Last time Ali. I have accept this proposal.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yep.
This is more of a courtesy. You're here, we're making a change to an agreement which you're going to be asked to sign. I just would like to make sure that all parties are agreed whether we need to send it back for something. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
You can go back.
Seeing none, we'll bring back to council for any final council comments. Is there any final comments?
Yeah, I got a quick question. I touched on it earlier, but I didn't expand. That's my own brain fog, so my apologies. That is that if the 3% is a standard fee, I just want to make sure that we're answering out to the public where does that money go? If we're collecting that funds, where the funds go?
Well, it goes into the general fund. Actually, that 3% fee is quite low for industry standards. We charge that fee, one for the use of the taxi service on our roads, but it does go into the general fund.
Sure. That's the same question I've asked for other franchise agreements that
Right.
we've been through. I just want to make sure that I'm asking it for the public's sake. Cool. Thank you.
Is there any other council comments? Okay, hearing none. I would entertain a motion for approval of the introduction. I would entertain a motion to introduce by title only an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest granting a non-exclusive taxi franchise to Blue Line Taxi with the amended sections 8F to the agreement to include compliance with all sections of RMC Code 7.51, as well as the amended changes to the ordinance as presented.
I would like to put forward a motion that we adopt with the changes proposed.
Yes.
Second.
I have a motion and second.
Please vote. Five ayes, motion carries.
And then do I have a motion to waive reading in full of an ordinance of the Ridgecrest City Council granting a non-exclusive taxi franchise for Blue Line Taxi as amended in the previous motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second.
Please vote. Kyle. Five ayes, motion carries.
Okay, thank you, sir, and thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Next item is our committee reports. Looks like we have two. Great, mine, Finance and City Org. Finance Committee met on the 9th of April. Would generally state that our finance team is actively working on our budget. We have our budget workshop coming up, I believe, May 22nd. I didn't have to reach for the phone. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we would encourage any members of the public to be here. That is my favorite day of the year. It's budget day, and it drives everyone else crazy. But that's a lot of fun for about 3.5, 4 hours. So we encourage you to come on down and join us. And then beyond that, most income revenue streams, all for the city, are meeting expectations. The Measure P committee has begun to meet. And the Measure V committee continues to meet. We are making good progress on generally all fronts. When we have these finance meetings, we usually talk over, what's kind of the variances or things that we don't expect. This was a fairly quick meeting. There wasn't anything radically to discuss. Councilman Rajaratnam sat in for Councilman Heyman for that meeting. Was there anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Good. And then the next was our city org meeting, which was held on the 4th. For that meeting, Councilman Blades stepped in for Mr. Gorman, who is traveling Europe and enjoying himself. And I would say that, we covered, general progress again on SB 1383. And for those of you that didn't happen to see the Eco Hero presentations that have been out to our local schools over the last couple weeks, those are funded by that program. We had some other discussions about, the banners and them getting up in there. These are beautiful. If you've driven down Ridgecrest Boulevard or Balsam and seen the 60th anniversary banners, again, thank you to Megan McKenzie for her work in getting that set up. Looks great. And I'm trying to think of anything else that was specific in City Org that was covered that was of high relevance.
No. I drug the meeting all longer than it should have.
A few minutes, but not too bad.
I know, not me.
Not too bad. Not as long as I've drank some down. I do see there's a caller in. We don't have any other sections for public comment. Let me go ahead and once again offer you my phone number. It's 760-977-7090. If you'd ever like to call or speak to me, I'm more than happy to speak with you. Next was, after our city org, any other committees, boards, or commissions? I did want to go ahead and reiterate for our council that we have guests from the League of California Cities joining us on, I believe, May the 10th, Friday, May 10th. They will be here at the historic USO building. That is for the League of California Cities Desert Mountain Division. We'll have members of multiple city governments from as far away as Apple Valley. Probably, is that about the farthest is Apple Valley?
The farthest.
Yeah, Apple Valley and then Mammoth, obviously, in the other direction, down to, Barstow. It's a great opportunity to meet with other local elected officials, and I would encourage our council members to attend if they'd
All
like.
5 of you, yeah. It'd be great if we could have you present, if it works out with your schedules, just because it's local.
Certainly would
Catered
wonderful.
lunch, good time, good
Yep.
meeting.
And that is the 10th. Thank you. Any other committees, boards, or commissions? Somebody asked me earlier today why I wasn't at LAFCO. So just for the record, my LAFCO appointment begins next month. So that is official, but that won't start occurring until next month. And for the public and for my fellow council members, we are still working through what will be our creative, but it is going to require me to miss a few meetings here and there periodically, especially as some critical issues go through LAFCO.
It's all right, we got you.
Yep.
We're here for.
Yep. This council is incredible. I'm not worried about that. Okay, and what did they say? That's the meetings will be faster.
They said meetings are going to be a lot shorter.
Stabbed by my own. Stabbed on 2 fronts. Man alive.
That's all right.
Hearing no other boards, commission, city manager report.
Yes, thank you. I got a couple things tonight. First, want to report on our 90% review of the pool plans yesterday down in Pasadena. It was yeah, you forgot about it. I got it, though. We had all of our architects and engineers showed up, and we went over 187 pages of the plans. There's some corrections that need to be made. All in all, it was a really good session. We're looking at hopefully having it ready to present to council on May 15th, to be able to come and show you what the final set of plans looks like, and be able to give you what we believe the estimated cost would be, and then we'd hope from there we will be able to get it prepared, get it out to bid, and hopefully award a contract. In the meantime, we're going to work on getting the current penny pool and the old Boys and Girls Club demolished and get that removed. So we're going to bifurcate that project. We feel that we can do that locally and be able to have that property cleared off before we award a contract. At least that's what our intent is. Once again, we have Night on Balsam Street this Friday. We're having several vendors there. We believe that's going to be a great event. We're going to have the silent DJ folks out again. And obviously that committee that has been operating that event and organizing that event has done a great job. And I think it's going to be weather's going to be great. It's going to be a good evening. Once again, a reminder to the public, we're well on our way to have our first farmers market within the community on Wednesday, May 1st. We got an update on the splash pad. It's currently being, the drain is almost completed. It should be finished by next Tuesday, and we're hoping to get the splash pad open the following Friday on April 26th. As you know, last council meeting, council approved an emergency resolution funding the repair of our Freedom Park well. It looks like that well will be repairable, hopefully within budget, and we should be able to have maybe the water on by Wednesday of next week. In the meantime, we are getting a little creative on how we're going to water the grass out there. We did have Acting Chief Tucker reach out to the fire department. We had the fire department out there earlier today with their hose watering the grass, and so I do believe he's got a video that he's going to put out on Facebook here shortly, thanking the fire department for their efforts. And I know Narissa and her staff with Travis and Tucker are working on how we're going to keep the grass watered until we get the well up and running again. Obviously, that grass is a rare commodity in Ridgecrest, and we need to make sure that we help keep it. I'll just skip on the streetlights. I don't want to cover all this because I know I'm stealing your thunder here because I can feel it.
You should, no, city manager should address the streetlights. All I'm gonna say is thank you to people, so.
All right, well, I'm gonna hold off on that one. This, I believe it's Saturday, we have a movie in the park. We're gonna be showing Elemental, and the sponsor on that is Ridgecrest Visitors Bureau. The attendance on those have been quite well, and we encourage the community to come out and have a good evening in the park. And with that, that is all that I have.
Thank you, sir. Next would be future agenda items. Do we have any future agenda items?
Yes, sorry, I was talking to the city clerk and was not on my game. I would like to propose that we shuffle some committee assignments. There are two that I would like to ask another council member to absorb. That is the Kern Council of Governments and the East Kern Air Pollution Board.
Yeah, those should be agendized as a separate item for discussion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, he's just requesting it for future agenda. We're in future agenda,
Yeah.
Martin. We're not discussing, he's just requesting it for future agendas.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other future agenda items? Hearing none? Okay. Mayor and council comments. We'll go ahead and begin with Mr. Gorman.
I haven't got much to say, except that I'm back. It's great. I've been gone 3 weeks out of Ridgecrest to the moldy, rainy, cold, monochromatic John le Carre spy novel sort of weather they're having in Germany and thereabouts. When I got back after 3 weeks, things have changed. The weeds are now up to your waist and defy a string trimmer. You know, you can't buy a scythe anymore. I'll have to make one. I did notice while I was in Europe with our family, and it was a wonderful family reunion, best ever. I'll be writing about it and dropping my narratives in local Facebook and elsewhere. So you get to read all about it. I'm now a rabid soccer fan. I think since I went to my first live European Premier League soccer game, I'm all over it. Just don't ask me what offsides mean. I watched a whole game and still don't know. And those of you who watch Ted Lasso, I want you to know that Rebecca's Bridge in Amsterdam is now a tourist stop where a bicyclist knocked her off the bridge and into the canal. And especially looking forward to driving back from Ridgecrest, because I had heard now we have, or will soon have, the most traffic-friendly signal lights, but the most turn signal neglected drivers in the nation. I know about the turn signals, but I'm looking forward to a synchronized breeze from Walmart north all the way through Denny's. Whatever, I'm glad to be back.
None?
Mr. Rajaratnam. Mr. Blades.
Another shout out to the inspiration that I felt tonight from the youth of the community. I thought it was a beautiful thing to see somebody come up here, get a scholarship. Of course, thank you to SCE, but you know, a larger thank you to her for all her hard work, and to all the exploiters that were lined up here. It was a good thing to see. Those are the things that matter. Thank you to the PD, Captain Tucker, for fostering the program and not letting up on that. I know a lot of that's work outside of the hours, and you guys are no stranger to that.
Well, I have a couple of small things. I mean, again, I want to reiterate, you know, some of the things and some of the themes that we heard this evening, because I think it's really important to understand that is, you know, the Ridgecrest City is is moving forward. We've continued to be moving forward for the last several years. We're improving our infrastructure, we're improving our community outreach, we're improving our communication. All of these improvements kind of really showed themselves here over the last couple days, and even in some of the comments today. I mean, when we talk about, how people interact with each other, and, last time I checked, stalking, harassment, and extortion were all crimes. And we don't tolerate it in this community, so we're going to work hard to protect our local businesses and to make sure that those things are not something that we allow to happen, occur over and over again. We heard some public comments today thinking that we're out there stalking people, but it sure sounded like the person on the phone was actually more interested in finding a way to stalk people than the city is. Secondarily, of course, the proactivity. When we talk about being proactive, proactive means that you're doing things. It means that you're not waiting around for things. And we have, shown this now as a community for several years. We started Sigma and the water issues, that all started in 16. SB 1383 started in 16. All of these things, or maybe it's 14, sorry. Yeah, Sigma was 14, thank you. Yeah, I knew I was off by my year. Did you hear me stop there? I'm going, nope, I'm off on my year. But the key is that, trash and water are two things that we've put our best foot forward, because being proactive as a community is putting your best foot forward. It's not waiting around and arguing and not getting things done. We kicked so many problems down the road that we end up fighting ourselves in arguments, but for the first time as a community, we're moving forward. And it's really cool to see, because even while we're arguing, or maybe we have a few handful of people, upset with our roads, what are we seeing? We're seeing new cement going down. We're seeing new roads going down. We're seeing new ADA compliance. We're seeing all of these things happening. And why? Because we're being proactive. So then we talk about the lights, right? So how many of us I had a 4-year-old little girl in the back seat of my car screaming she had to go potty while sitting at the light at Raider and China Lake, and I had two choices, right? I can get pissed off at the light, or I can go, honey, it's just another second, honey, just another second, honey. I understand, sweetheart. Guys, we live in a town that travels 5 minutes from one end to the other. I respect that there's some frustration from taking another minute or two out of your life to wait at a light. And I respect that things were inconvenient. But guys, please grant us the amount of time to fix something. And I just want to compliment Mr. Reed and our administrative staff that got the messages out there on Monday. And this is the important part. We have people that come before this council and try to speak as if they are the entire community. And they never are. Because even on Facebook, all of those people that 100 comments, this much. You know what I saw today, and what I've seen over the last couple of days? Them going, you know what? The first thing on Monday morning, there was communication from the city. The first thing on Tuesday morning, there was communication from the city. The first thing on Wednesday morning, there was communication from the city. We have been communicating, and we're going to continue to communicate. Thank you to the citizens who reached out with questions or comments. We addressed them. We are happy to. But I got to tell you guys, if you just go on Facebook to complain about this community, I'm not going to engage with you, okay? Because I understand it takes my staff a couple weeks, that's so rude of me to say, our staff, a couple weeks to do the job that they're asked to do. So Mr. Reed, the entire Public Works Department, everyone who's got that communication out, thank you. To the citizens who are upset, I'm sorry we interrupted your day a few minutes. It should be passing very quickly. Carmageddon also is going to pass in a short notice here. You've seen the pipes out of the ground. You see the sidewalks being repoured. I can't put it any other way, but if we tear out the sidewalk, we have to close the road to put the sidewalk back in before we open the road again, guys. These are all strategic steps towards a larger, and they all continue to reflect that proactive attitude towards making improvements in our community. Citizens, you gave us the tools. Thank you. In Measure P and Measure V, you've continued to give us the tools to do these things. And we are going to continue to do the infrastructure improvements that we've said. I also got a chance to post and to share. We got an update from District 1 Supervisor Mr. Peters in regards to some other projects that the county's doing. The county's preparing an investment into Petroglyph Park, as well as the Leroy Jackson Park, as well as some investments into our local library next year. We've got other things coming now from the county as well to continue to improve the quality of life within our community. Finally, I want to go ahead and thank everyone who has come out in force at these meetings to share their opinions and information. I've said over and over again that citizens' participation in our committee meetings is the most important way for us to get information. And when you show up, odds are that you impact something that we can do positively. And we've continued to have that, so thank you. And we hopefully will see you at more committee meetings. Finally, I wanted to extend an invitation to everyone to join us at 6 a.m. on May the 2nd at the Desert Christian Center for the annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. Myself, I believe I know Mr. Rajaratnam and some other council members will be there. We'd certainly love to join in fellowship with you on that morning. And beyond that, I hope to see all of you this Friday, April 19th at Night on Balsam. We're excited to be back on Balsam. Have a great evening, good luck, and good night, Ridgecrest.